what was it like to experience a graduation from afar, but also, be a part of all that?
It was cool. I mean, I watched it on the live stream yesterday morning. It's pretty early. It's cool to kind of relive the sights and sounds of school and campus and all that. This is a long time coming, obviously, since I left campus as a goal to finish. Just as obviously a sense of accomplishment, but a promise I made to my mom and Coach McKillop when I left after my junior year. So it was pretty special. They had the fat head over on campus in my honor. And Coach throws a party at his house across the street from campus every year for all the graduating seniors. And they got a picture of the graduating class this year and them holding up the picture of me in front of it. So I didn't get to experience that back in 2010. So it was cool.
What do you think about this Dallas matchup?
I mean, they're obviously playing really high level. You have a lot of guys that have shined this playoff run. Obviously, Luka's doing what he's doing, putting up crazy numbers. The way he finished out that series was pretty special. Obviously, what Jalen did in the first round to get them out of that, Jazz series, and what he's done the whole time since. Spencer coming off the bench, providing a huge bump. Finney Smith knocking down crazy shots, and they've tried to step up their defense. So it's a tough matchup. We obviously know we have to be prepared on both ends, and we got to be locked in on, our game plan, understanding that things will change as the series goes on once we get a better feel for what they're like in a playoff, series game after game. But in the Western Conference Finals, figure it out. Try to protect home court like we've done, so far this playoff run, and get off to a good start.
I'm going back to your degree. First, why sociology? And second, did you have to write a thesis to graduate?
Why sociology? That's a good question. Back when I was in school, it was between that and math for me, and it was just, yeah, exactly.
So, some people choose communication.
I wasn't an offering at Davidson in terms of the whole liberal arts education that we get, but sociology was, I took a couple classes, I think my freshman, sophomore year, that I enjoyed, and saw it through there. I did have to write a thesis. I wrote it on advancing gender equity through sports. So got to analyze some of the things that I've done since I left school and apply a sociological lens to it. And understand how a lot of different people are promoting gender equity through their voice, their platform, money, financial investments, and their time.
You had to get your degree in order to have your number eventually retired by Davidson. What would that mean to you? You've seen a lot of other guys have that ceremony. What would it mean to you?
That was a huge part of just the full experience of, now being official alum, and understanding the traditions of Davidson, the necessity for that degree to have that ceremony. So we'll see. I don't know. We haven't figured out when that'll be or anything like that, but it'll be special to kind of cement an amazing time of my life while I was there. All the teammates that I played with, Coach McKillop, who's still there doing his thing, representing the program that he built, and being a part of that history means a lot.
Steph, Gary mentioned to us yesterday a project where you talked to guys with tattoos. Was that part of this?
Yeah. The whole thing was a separate class, but my guys helped me out on that research project that I had to do. So they got to talk about some of the many tattoos that they want to share, the meanings behind them, and all that type of stuff. And I got to use that as some solid data.
Was that a paper you wrote?
Yeah.
What was it called? What class?
It was just analyzing tattoos and culture, but from an athletic lens, I guess, in terms of meanings, reasons, timing, regret, all type of stuff that comes out of those conversations.
And
Steph-
along those lines, Steph, it sounds like there were some professors who helped this happen, even though they were no longer at one who's now at Santa Cruz and one at Stanford who were willing to work with you. I mean, how much was that a crucial part of this to getting this done?
There were a lot of players involved in it. Dr. Jessica Taft, who's the one you're talking about, Gail Kaufman, who was a sociology chair at Davidson, who was my advisor the whole way. Jennifer Ocker Smith, who's a professor at Stanford out here, who helped me kind of create a framework of how I was going to be able to get the work done. Dr. Clark Ross, who's a professor still at Davidson, who I got to talk to over the last 3 or 4 months, and Chris Clooney, who's the AD at Davidson, who was a graduating senior the year before I got there, who's now the head AD, who's been a huge part of organizing things on that end to make it happen. Obviously, getting to do the work, but all those people played a huge part in making it possible. So, shout out to them.
Steph, Dylan Brooks mentioned it specifically, but it came across in some of you guys' comments too. You kind of felt the young guys coming after the experienced guys, the old guys, whatever you want to mention it. It felt a little generational. Now you got Lucas 23. Is that, I don't know, on your mind that this is, I mean, you got younger people trying to take what you have and you can feel this, is there a little dynamic there on this?
We don't have anything right now. So,
You have 1-3 done.
No, we don't have anything right now. That's the mindset of like us being greedy in terms of what we're trying to go after. There's more so just the, I guess the acknowledgement of like how funny it is when I look at some of those guys and you remind them how young they actually are. Like Jason Tatum's 24, Lucas 23, you got Ja was 20, whatever, 22, whatever he is. So like, that's the only part where you're just like, the hell, like they're really, really that young. You're thinking about what you were doing at that age, like trying to come into this scene in playoff basketball. But outside of that, we're hungry enough knowing we haven't been on the radar for the last 2 years in terms of being realistic championship contenders. And now we're knocking on the doorstep of getting back to the final. So, maybe that's just me in terms of not trying to be like claim the old guy tag, but it's just, we're as hungry as they are to get it done.
Hey, first off, congratulations on graduating, man. And kind of pivoting back to hoops. What have you guys seen on tape as far as Jalen Brunson's concerned?
He's clever, crafty. He finds a way to create space, keep defense on his heels. He's got great footwork. He got pump fakes. He's just very clever on that end of the floor, and it never seems like he gets in a bad way because he can always, pivot his way out, dribble his way out, find a lane to the basket. So, and he's playing with confidence. You got to find a way to take that away from him. And they do a pretty good job of giving each other space with, that 5-out offense that, requires you to have multiple efforts. So it's going to be a lot of different guys guarding a lot of different people. And if we can get stops, be locked in on rotations and obviously one-on-one defense, we can speed the game up a little bit because they do like to control the tempo, and Jalen, his game is kind of predicated on that too.
Steph, I'm sure you're glad to see Steve back, but how much of a wake-up call was that to have him out and, the realization we're not through this pandemic and, a positive test with a player could change the balance of what happens in the next few weeks?
It's kind of weird. Like you said, thinking about what everybody's been through for how long we've been going through it, and take for granted the different waves that come through, and the fact that this is still something we have to be on, alert with and protect against, and be have precaution in terms of how you're moving, through your day and where you're going, who you're around, how you spend your time outside of this facility. So for Coach, obviously glad he's back, but it's a very sensitive time as it has been since this thing started. So you pray that that does not influence, the way that the season ends. And I know we're all going to do everything in our power to make sure we can stay as healthy as possible, but yeah, that's pretty much all you can do is just control what you can control at this point.
Were you a little nervous after you got the news about him the next couple of days to see, if it did spread?
Because how close, I guess, we all are from, throughout the practice and locker room and games and all that. Absolutely. But so far, so good. So just trying to, again, control what we can control and pray that we don't have any influence from any outside force in terms of us being available and being able to play.
Similar to what Tim asked you a second ago, has it hit you that the barriers that were always there for you before, Bron and James and Chris and Kawhi and Russ and Dame, none of those guys are around? And is it a little, I don't know, weird, a little strange that none of those guys are there?
A little bit. But you're so locked in at what's in front of you, you don't really think about that too much. So especially when you're in a series, like you just worry about the 14 other guys on the other side, and it requires all of your attention and emotional energy. So this is an interesting time now with so many different people chiming in on the playoff conversations. And all the different commentary that's going on that seems a little louder than it usually has been from a player's perspective. So that part has been entertaining, but also a little weird. But again, I think we've only had time, these last 2 days to really kind of take a step back and take a break from the grind of what happens on the court to appreciate all the other stuff that goes on around NBA playoff basketball and all the theatrics.
Steph, when you see Draymond playing in Game 6 where he's going to the rim with the intent to score, and how much does that change your offensive prowess?
It just keeps the defense honest in terms of how they want to guard us. The fact that he, I think he got 14 shots. It was just aggressive in transition, aggressive when he saw daylight in the paint. It keeps the game a little bit simpler just because we have confidence that he can make shots, that he can, be aggressive, finish at the rim, get his float game off. If he has a wide open three, take it, knock it down. Even if, it doesn't go down, it's good offense and the defense feels that we're creating good shots. So it gives us a different life for sure. And he's obviously a gamer. He knows what's required to win. I know he has responsibility to influence the game a lot of different ways, and so his offensive input kind of gets pushed to the bottom of that priority list a little bit, maybe a little bit too much. So for him just to be aggressive like he did, that's what he's capable of, and we have confidence that he can do it.
How you've seen two different teams guard you two different ways, and you talked last time about Memphis's unique personnel. In what ways do you expect Dallas to approach you? We've seen them, like Jason Kidd, just say, we're doubling you from the beginning. You're going into a series, are you thinking, okay, here's another thing I have to try to figure out?
Yeah, it's always like that, but there's more, I guess, specifically with Dallas. They remember the game in the regular season in Dallas. I didn't get a shot at them in the fourth quarter. We blew a big lead here at home. They kind of blitzed us in the fourth quarter. I know we're a different team than we were then and a lot more polished. We still have some things to work on in terms of, valuing the possessions and taking care of the basketball, but we have a lot better flow and understanding of how we're going to create good offense, even if they want to, trap me all over the court or try to keep the ball in my hands. So we'll be prepared for all of that. But I feel like they'll probably take a page out of that game in Dallas and whatever I don't remember what they did in the fourth quarter here. We'll probably start to look at those two games and figure out what's the best guess of what they'll try tomorrow or maybe on Wednesday, and then go from there.
You remember playing Jason Kidd?
Yeah.
What do you remember about? It was late career Kidd, but
That was my rookie year, I think. Was he in Dallas? And then he was in New York. It was my second year. Yeah. I just remember him being an unbelievably sound point guard that I felt like never left the top of the key. It was at that end of point of his career. He could obviously shoot the ball, but they designed an offense around him and Dirk that he just controlled the game and never really left the top of the key and just picked teams apart. So we got a long history of knowing about J Kidd just from his time or hearing about his time playing in Alameda in high school and obviously at Cal and watch him in the league and all that. To then have him had the pleasure of playing against him for a couple of years. My favorite memory of him is all the reactions and mannerisms he had when he was on the bench in New York when I was going off. Those are my favorite videos of him on the bench. Like what is going on? There's a lot of respect over there.
do you think because of who he was as a player, how much he probably understands that position, do you think that's probably leads into why he's so willing to double you and kind of, I guess, over scheme against a star guard?
I'm sure he remembers what it was like when teams tried to do it to him for sure, but that sounds like good coaching. So he wants to be a good coach. That's what you do.
Steph, what do you remember about the We Believe series between the Mavs and Warriors?
The what?
The We Believe that series.
I mean, I just remember the energy. I didn't really know much about Dub Nation at the time or what was going on out here in the Bay. I was still back in I was at Davidson watching the playoffs. So you could just tell how electric the building was coming out, coming through the TV. Obviously the 1-8 matchup and the history with Don Nelson, the Mavs and all that, and just all the different subplots. But it's just good basketball, good entertaining basketball. They played with an edge. Obviously they won, and it was it's what you heard about ever since. I remember when I first got out here at Oracle, they used to interview all the season ticket holders during the game, or season ticket holder the other night, and like, what's your favorite Warrior moment? And that was always the one.
That's all we
that
had.
or Baron Davis dunking on Andre Kirilenko, which is obviously the same year. So that was it.
All right, a couple on quick ones on Zoom. Mark Haynes, go ahead.
Hey, Steph, being the two-way player that you are, on both ends, when you when you looking at film, when you're looking at film.
Hey, Raymond, you got
good job. Thanks for you worded that. That's not exactly what I emailed you, but close.
Yes, keep going.
When you look at that film, try to figure out a game plan, do you look at the offensive side of the ball or defense first?
You know the answer to that question. I appreciate you trying to set me up, but you know the answer to that question.
All right, Scott Ossel, your hand's still up. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Hey, Steph, a two-parter on turnovers. First of all, are you worried about the turnovers? Are you doing anything to address turnovers? And the second part is Kerr said that he's not even going to mention turnovers to you guys. Is that true?
He mentions that he's not going to mention it. So there's a subtle difference to that's just what we do. He's just not going to mention it because he's been mentioning it for 8 years and it still comes up to bite us at times. We always say it's just being mindful about the type of turnovers that you have. Like, it's interesting because everybody touches the ball every possession and everybody's moving around. Like they're kind of spread out amongst us all. And it seems like it's a lot more than to us. It feels like at times on the floor. It's not like one guy's just racking up 5, 6, 7 every night. It's just kind of a spread out just because of how we play. But we understand that if we want to hit our peak in terms of just offensive explosion and the ability to put it together every night, we have to keep those down, because keeping it down means we're getting good shots at least, and usually marginal shots for us are good shots, and good things kind of come out of that. So we'll keep it a focus and hopefully, figure it out.
So you mentioned it after. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, sorry. No, that's okay.
Okay. All right, I'll go. You mentioned after the game, Wiggins smiling it's a good thing when he smiles. Dumb question, but why are you guys always like looking to him? Why is he so important? Is he just kind of a barometer for you guys? Or you just like him a lot? Why is Wiggins' smile so important to you?
Because we understand what he's capable of in this league, and like all the things he's gone through in his career, from #1 pick to having some amazing statistical years in Minnesota, but not having really much to show for it, to come in here. Like, we understand that he can impact winning basketball, and for him, it's just a matter of if he's locked in and engaged in terms of what that actually means in terms of what he focuses on the court, and that's being physical in defense, taking those matchups seriously, taking on the challenge of it, rebounding basketball, and then just being aggressive on offense, either attacking the paint or taking open shots. And when all that happens, like, he has a different impact on the game that we all appreciate and know makes us better. And him smiling as a result of him just enjoying what that means and the result of all that. So even when he dunks on somebody, we just want him to yell, like, get a tech one time. Like, no, I just want him to, whatever the taunting word is for how they view text now, just go do that one time. Like, we just want to see him just enjoy what he does out there, because he can impact winning.
All right, one last one on Zoom. Connor, go ahead.
Hey, Steph, I heard that you basically had a little bit of a Mother's Day surprise for your mom in terms of your Davidson degree, letting her know that you're going to graduate this spring on Mother's Day. What was that moment like for you? And what did that mean for you?
It was special. I was on FaceTime. She wasn't in town, but she's a lifelong educator. I grew up going to her Montessori school in Charlotte, or Huntersville, North Carolina, for 6 years. And then when I went to Davidson, that was a huge part of that experience and that decision, because it's such a highly rated, highly ranked college on the educational front, and for us to balance that in basketball. And then when I left, I knew that was a huge part of seeing something through, was to eventually finish my degree. And that's why I made that promise to her I would. She made the joke, though, like, for the last 10 years, she just got to brag that 2 of her 3 kids are college graduates. One from one from Elon and one from Duke. And so I finally got to join my siblings on that front. So I'm not the odd one out anymore.
Oh, how you doing?
Andrew, did you watch the 2 game 7s yesterday?
Mhm.
What did you think of the one that pertains to you guys and your opponent for the Western Conference Final?
It's gonna be a tough matchup. They're a good team on both sides of the floor. So it's gonna be interesting.
Andrew, remember when we talked about before the game, before the playoffs started? Okay. We talked about what it meant to you, the opportunity to play on this big
I remember
stage.
now. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Remember what you said?
This is
What you said.
This,
Remember
this
what you
is
said.
like where you get remembered for
Yeah.
what you do and how you play.
How do you feel you're doing?
I feel like I've been pretty solid, still can still do more, still help the team more. So
And what's it feel like to be on this stage? I mean, how different is it than what you're used to for most of your career?
it feels good. We're winning, we're in position to do something special, and that feels amazingly part of it.
You've been matched up against Luca, and you're probably going to get the initial assignment in this series. What do you think about when you know that, when you know how hot he's been on a run he is right now? What are your focus? What's your focus when you face him?
It's gonna be a tough matchup, for sure. You've seen what he's been doing, so playoffs. So it's gonna be a team effort. All of us, the whole team, gonna have to do it collectively. He's a handful.
There's great video of Steph looking at you when you're doing your interview, and he's pointing at you and yelling at you. And he said after the game, he just wants to see that smile. He wants to see the wig smile. Things are good. Do you find them trying to cheer you up, trying to get you to smile? And what's that like when they so much focus of these pretty famous guys is on you?
For sure, for sure. Usually I'm just, just cool all the way. But it was good to show emotion sometimes. And, last game I feel like deserved it. I've never been here, before. So it's a special opportunity, and you'll see a lot more smiles the further we go.
Steph says he wants you to get a tech on a dunk or some sort of emotion. Yeah, what's the chances of that happening?
Oh, who knows? You never know what could happen. You never know.
Dallas is gonna try to screen you off Luca a bunch. What's kind of the key for you? I mean, if you're switching everything, you kind of just have to switch. But I guess just what's the key when you're trying to stay with Luca and they're trying to get you off of him?
Like I would tell you, but I feel like it's public information. Everyone can hear what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna keep that to myself.
What I guess no, just
So we were talking about like you're gonna get Luca, and then obviously you're this super rebounder with like all these tough rebounds. When did it hit you that this was who you are? Like most of your life you've been a bucket getter, and now you're viewed in this light. When did it get comfortable for you to be that guy?
It's just in certain opportunities and certain positions, your roles change. Right now, you got Steph, you got Clay, putting the ball up, and I get shots sometimes, but what's gonna help this team win right now, is me playing good defense, me rebounding, and me scoring something. But right now, what we need, to keep moving forward and keep winning, I'm just doing what I can. I do like to score though.
Last series, Mike Brown said you asked to pick up full court. Have you grown to like defending point guards? In your time here?
I just feel like I like guarding whoever makes the team go. I feel like those couple games we lost to Memphis, Tyus was like the key to that. He's scoring the ball, he's assisting, he's kind of controlling the game. I just felt like, and Tyus had a hell of a series. So I just thought like, if I can try to take him out the game early, get his rhythm off, it would, better our chances.
You talked, going back to Monty's question, you said that you feel like you can do more. Is there, what do you mean by that? Like, is there still another notch that you can turn your game up or your intensity up to?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think there's another level, I can get to, and I'm going to get there.
Couple of quick ones on Zoom. Scott Osler, go ahead.
Oh, I sorry, I didn't mean to have my hand up, but while I got you, Andrew, are turnovers a concern of you guys? You've guys been working on that to try to address that situation or problem or whatever you want to call it?
Like our turnovers for the team, is that a
Oh,
problem that we're concerned about?
We just got limited. We just got to take care of the ball and value it. Every possession matters. And Dallas is a good team, and they take their time, and if you turn over the ball, they'll make you pay for it. So we just got to value the ball.
Mark Haynes, go ahead.
Hey, Wiggs, when you first arrived to the Bay Area a couple of years ago, is this kind of what you pictured when you first got here?
Yeah. When I got here, since I've been in the NBA, when you think about Golden State, all you think about is winning. That's just how it's been since I've been in the league. This organization they've been winners. So when I got here, I didn't think anything was going to change. I was excited to play with Steph, Clay, Draymond, to get coached by Steve. So whatever I expected, everything I expected is, coming true.
Terrific. All right. I think that's it. Cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.